So I was right. Many years ago, I had assumed that a lot of my health issues with my heart that had gotten progressively worse and worse and worse and worse were caused by some of the psychiatric medications I was on. The one psychiatric medication in particular that really jacked me up was something called Seroquel. Okay, now Seroquel is also called quietapine or something. It's a antipsychotic that's prescribed. Unfortunately, to me, it was prescribed to me for major depressive syndrome or major depressive disorder, which it's not really supposed to be prescribed for, but psychiatrists be being crazy, yo. And so I was prescribed it for major depressive disorder slash bipolar disorder slash whatever the hell they felt like. I don't really remember, but I think it was major depressive disorder. So essentially the medicine messed me up so badly that I couldn't swallow, I couldn't speak properly, I had ataxia, meaning I had muscle tremors, I was convulsing, I was doing really bad on that medication. But the one thing that that medication caused was severe high heart rates. I would get heart rates that would go through the roof, and it would be crippling. It would be very difficult to gather my wits about me. And this progressed even after I stopped the medication. So I would get, it actually got worse as the years went on, even after I had stopped the medication. And it's one of the problems with medicine is psychiatry has become a dumping ground for everything that, DOs and MDs don't understand. So when I had gone to my general practitioner at the time, she's not my general practitioner now, I had explained to her, this is back when I was actually working in mental health, and part of my job was to visit people in the community, take them into the community, things like that. And sometimes it would get so bad that I would have to like vomit and things like that. And it's related to the vagal nerve. Okay. It's all about like the vagal nerve and this type, So I would get upset. My stomach would get upset. And sometimes I would have to vomit. Sometimes I would have these situations when I was driving that were debilitating. Now this is coming from somebody like me. I've driven cross country, no problem. Driven from Pennsylvania to Georgia, Pennsylvania to New York, Pennsylvania to Ohio. I drove half of the way out to Arizona with a friend of mine. I have always taken long car rides, but ever since I was given the Seroquel years back in like, I think it was like 2008 or 2009, my heart variability has never been the same. So after years and years and years and years of going from cardiologist to cardiologist and harassing them to get me to wear a Holter, I wanted to wear a Holter monitor to prove that I was, having a situation with my heart, because I knew that it was my heart. Because my general practitioner had told me that she believed that this was caused by my, quote, bipolar disorder. And I had to remind her that vomiting is not a symptom of bipolar disorder, and I wanted a better answer, and she didn't give me a better answer. So that's when I started going to cardiologists, and eventually I found one that had me wear a Holter monitor, which showed that I did have tachycardia. However, when I went to another cardiologist, because that cardiologist was a complete idiot, I went to another cardiologist who sent me to an electrophysiologist. They found nothing wrong with the electrical functioning of my heart, which is actually pretty good. Okay, so then what happened is when they found nothing wrong with the electrical functioning of my heart, they just assumed that it was still my heart. They just didn't know what was going on. So fast forward to this year, this March, I went to the hospital with a cardiac. I had another tachycardic episode that was disorienting, debilitating. I couldn't make the drive on my own, so I had to, call an ambulance, blah, 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 blah. I get to the emergency room. They put me in, they keep me, I stay overnight. Part of my tests that were ordered by the doctor was an orthostatic tachycardia test, or a postural orthostatic tachycardia test, which basically is a way to check your heart rate and blood pressure variability when you're standing, sitting, and lying down. And it came back that I have something going on. So then the cardiologist had seen me the next day. scheduled an appointment in his office to do a test. He did the test. It showed that I had autonomic dysfunction, which is essentially like my autonomic nervous system is more active than it should be. Because, for example, when you're awake, your sympathetic nervous system should have should be what's in charge. But unfortunately, my parasympathetic or autonomic nervous system is 4 times the strength of my sympathetic nervous system, which has led to these situations with heart rate variability and breathing issues and all sorts of stuff. Another thing, I have asthma. My cardiologist believes that it might not even be asthma. It might be the autonomic dysfunction, and that with the new medication he put me on, I may not even need the inhaler or anything like that. That this all seems to be traced very easily to autonomic dysfunction and the issues with, my autonomic nervous system. So this is all very good news. I'm very happy to find out my heart is healthy and that I can go back to being aggressively physically active like I was, and that I don't have to worry about dropping dead of a heart attack or anything like that from being very physically active like I have always loved being. I can go back and I can do my karate again, full bore. I can possibly go back to teaching karate, who knows? But I can go back to probably competing in karate like I had wanted to do. I can go back to being myself again, lifting my weights again, more so than I have recently, because I've always been babying it just in case there's an underlying heart condition that like nobody knows about, but it doesn't seem like there is. It seems like it's an issue with the autonomic nervous system. So this cardiologist is one of the only cardiologists in the area that actually does that type of testing and treats that condition. So this is all very refreshing, very good. It just so happened I got lucky. That was a very, very wonderful stay in the hospital. I had a wonderful emergency room doctor that actually believed me and kept me. Well, he couldn't deny the fact that my heart rate was up to 200 beats a minute. And then, so he had to keep me to make sure I didn't have elevated troponin, so I didn't have, heart damage or anything like that. I met the most amazing nurse I've ever met. And then I met a cardiologist that just so happened to know what the heck was wrong with me. And it was just a very fortuitous stay in the hospital. A very good stay in the hospital that hopefully will result in a lot of these conditions of mine becoming more and more under control, so that I can go about pursuing things that I have planned on pursuing more aggressively as I did when I was a youth. And that's all for this video.